In a galaxy ruled by a powerful galactic council made of many species, a human named Ace Mercer is captured and questioned. Ace is no ordinary prisoner. He is calm and silent, but his presence shakes the council to its core. With only one speech, he reveals secrets that make leaders panic and governments fall apart. The story is tense and emotional, full of suspense as the galaxy's biggest powers face the truth about themselves. The stakes are high, entire civilizations risk collapse, and the quiet human holds the key to a dangerous change. This story is about power, truth, and reflection. It shows how one person's silence and words can cause chaos and force powerful beings to face their own shadows. The tone is dramatic and cinematic, with moments of fear, hope, and deep mystery. You will feel the pressure building as the council struggles to control the storm Ace has started, while a secret network of humans waits in the shadows ready to act. The Galactic Council chamber was vast, like a cathedral made for gods with terrible tempers. Massive pillars twisted upward, disappearing into a ceiling that showed live star maps. Representatives from many species sat in their seats, their eyes sharp and full of suspicion. The air was heavy and hot with tension. At the center of it all was Ace Mercer. Ace sat calmly in a simple chair. Nothing about him looked special: average height, gray hair at his temples, hands folded gently in his lap. He looked like an ordinary man waiting for tea, not a man who had shaken the entire galaxy. The silence he held was powerful. It made the most dangerous predators in the room nervous. They could not tell if he was prey or the hunter. Ace Mercer was the best interrogator the council had ever known. For years he had cracked warlords and tyrants without violence. He used words like weapons. He knew exactly when to speak and when to stay silent. His skill was legendary. No one could break him, and many broke because of him. Supreme Counselor Theara stood, her tentacles twitching with anger and power. "Ace Mercer," she hissed, "you stand accused of stealing secret data from 17 worlds. You exposed classified information that has destroyed governments. You are the cause of chaos, and you will tell us how you did it. Who helped you? What species do you represent? Why Earth, a backwater world barely able to travel faster than light, created someone like you?" Ace's eyes, gray and calm, lifted to meet hers. No fear. No anger. Just stillness. Then he smiled, a smile that made every creature in the room hold their breath. "I represent reflection," he said softly. The room grew colder. "Reflection?" whispered a delegate from Acenthal, a species that communicated in songs so beautiful they sounded like wind chimes. Even they could feel the fear. Ace continued, "You didn't build this council on unity. You built it on secrets. Every empire needs a dead man's switch. Yours just got bumped." He let his words sink into the heavy air. "My actions are only a reflection of your own. Did you represent your people fairly? Did you hire me for justice or for power?" The chamber fell silent. No one dared answer. Suddenly, Counselor Yanni of the Ari gasped. Her tentacles twitched violently, and she collapsed from her seat, clutching her head. Her mind struggled to understand the danger Ace had revealed. Panic rose quickly among the council members. Captain Zmouth, the Firaxi security chief, moved fast. He sealed the chamber doors. His instincts screamed that the balance of power had just shifted. The Acenthal harmony broke into chaotic, fearful songs. Counselor Grex, a rock-like Varn who had kept the council stable through wars, quietly activated a planetary lockdown for his homeworld. The council was turning on itself. Ace sat back, smiling quietly, watching the chaos he had caused without saying a single threatening word. His silence was a weapon more powerful than any speech. Within hours, the first secret documents appeared online. Detailed plans for a forbidden weapon of the Ari, the Mind Bridge, were leaked. The timestamp matched the moment Ace spoke. In less than a day, Firaxi military secrets, assassination plots, and private recordings of leaders from 17 species flooded the public networks. Each leak traced back to the time someone met with Ace. The council tried everything to break him. They sent their strongest psionic interrogators. The Ari, natural mind readers, came with their most skilled. The first interrogator, Tani, touched Ace's mind with powerful psionic energy. Instead of breaking Ace, she screamed inside her own mind and collapsed, bleeding from her eyes. The second tried a lighter approach but lasted only seconds before speaking in strange, painful languages and falling apart. The third fled without even trying. Ace remained calm, reading his book, The Art of Conversation, smiling quietly at their failure. Next, Captain's mouth brought in Scar Thok, a berserker who had killed many. He thought brute force would succeed where subtlety failed. Scar-Thok circled Ace like a predator, claws sharp and deadly. He attacked, slashing across Ace's chest, breaking skin and drawing blood. Ace didn't flinch. Scar-Thok roared, furious that the human did not scream or even show pain. He grabbed Ace's throat and squeezed, demanding answers. Ace smiled wider as if Scar-Thok's rage was the real weakness. Scar-Thok began to doubt himself. His mind shattered under Ace's calm gaze. The powerful killer collapsed, whimpering and broken. Guards found him rocking in a corner, defeated by a man who barely moved. By morning, every secret of the Firaxi Black Ops was public, leaked at the exact time Scar-Thok attacked Ace. The Council's next attempt used a device called the Memory Echo Chamber. It could replay memories perfectly like a holographic movie, to find hidden secrets. They locked Ace inside and began to flood his mind with harmonic frequencies designed to tear down mental walls. For minutes nothing happened. Then a blurry, grainy memory appeared. It showed a little girl no older than 12 and a proud but cruel warlord, her father. Ace sat with the girl, reading stories, then told her a different story, the terrible things her father had done to other children. The chamber cracked under the weight of Ace's vision. The memory showed the truth no one wanted to face. The girl begged him to stop. Ace never hurt her. He simply told the story of what she would inherit if she chose no different path. The memory chamber exploded. Ace sat calmly in the wreckage, still smiling. Next came the Neural Ripper, a medieval-looking device meant to remove the brain's ability to lie. It was painful and permanent. Ace was strapped in like a child. The probes burned his scalp and brain, but he only looked curious as if wanting to understand what it felt like. Despite the pain, Ace smiled. The machine could not break him. Sparks flew. It exploded in smoke and metal. Counselor Grex, a proud and ancient being, realized his fear. He trembled as he stared into Ace's unbroken eyes. The council was at war with itself. Secrets leaked everywhere, turning friends to enemies. Yet Ace sat bleeding but unbroken, reading books and wearing his quiet smile. Keiko, a senior investigator, kept working when others had fled or broken. She found the leaks weren't coming from Ace or the station. They came from dozens of systems, perfectly timed and coordinated. All involved humans working hidden jobs in the government, humans who vanished minutes after Ace's speech. Keiko realized the truth. Ace was not the leak. He was the detonator. Humans had spent decades quietly building a network inside the galactic government. They weren't spies, they were invisible workers who earned trust and respect. They waited patiently, ready to activate a plan with a single speech. The words Ace spoke contained a hidden pattern. The moment he finished, automated systems released every secret, every lie, every betrayal held by the Council. Keiko called it the most elegant war she had ever seen. Not a battle with weapons but a war of truth. The Council burned in the light of its own secrets. The chaos inside the Galactic Council grew worse with every hour. Once proud leaders now looked like frightened children. The truth had burned away their masks, leaving raw fear and anger behind. 3 species had recalled their ambassadors. The Firaxi declared martial law on their home world. The Ari were struggling with collective psionic trauma. Secrets exposed had shattered centuries of trust. Despite it all, Ace Mercer remained calm. His blood still seeped from old wounds, but he kept reading, never raising his voice or showing panic. To the galaxy's most dangerous beings, that quiet strength was a new kind of threat. A challenge they couldn't defeat with weapons or force. The Council's surviving leaders grew desperate. They offered Ace the highest honors, command of fleets, the title of Supreme Counselor, and a formal apology to Earth. Riches and peace deals flowed like rivers. Each time, Ace only turned a page in his book, ignoring them all. His silence was louder than any word. Finally, the Council turned to the Shadowkin, assassins who lived between realities. They were older than most species, skilled at killing without being seen or heard. Their best killer, Kaysera, accepted the mission to eliminate Ace Mercer. She was curious about the human who had broken the galaxy without firing a single shot. Kaysera had never failed a contract. She moved through impossible dimensions, striking from angles no one could defend. But 15 years ago, Ace Mercer had looked her in the eyes and spoken her true name as if they were old friends. That moment haunted her. Her target was not a normal enemy. Ace had the patience of centuries. The galaxy's collapse was not chaos, it was a carefully planned storm. Kaysera appeared in Ace's cell at 0347 local time. She was armed with weapons that could unravel reality itself. Blades cut through the very fabric of existence. Poisons attacked the forces holding matter together. She was the perfect killer. Ace was reading quietly. He looked up and smiled, the same calm, knowing smile she remembered. "Hello, Ace," she whispered. Her voice echoed through the small room. She had planned a clean, quick kill. But facing him again brought memories she could not shake. "The council thinks you are the threat," she said. "They believe killing you will stop the chaos." Ace said nothing, but his silence spoke volumes. "You're not the threat, are you?" she asked. "You're just showing them what they already were." His smile grew a fraction wider, as if to agree. Sarah felt a strange emotion. It was not fear, but uncertainty. Could she kill this man who forced her to question everything she believed? She told him about the Dramor incident, a mission long ago where Ace had stopped her from killing an innocent man. She wondered if everything he had done, the network, the leaks, the chaos, was part of a game stretching across decades. Ace nodded slightly, confirming her thoughts. "Why?" she asked softly. "Why make me question who I am? Why show me that I could choose differently?" Ace's smile softened, sadness in his eyes. He placed a finger on his book titled On the Nature of Choice. The meaning was clear. He wanted her to understand that change was possible. That she could be more than what she was created to be. Sarah stood for 17 minutes, weapons ready. The most dangerous assassin in the galaxy faced the simplest choice. Kill or walk away. She chose mercy. As she faded back into the spaces between realities, she heard something unspoken but real, gratitude from Ace. The next morning, Counselor Theara found a recording of Quasara's conversation with Ace playing on every screen in the station. It was not an assassination but a deep look into a being who had spent centuries convincing herself that murder was justice. "How?" Theara demanded, storming into Ace's cell. "How are you doing this?" Ace looked up from his book, Understanding Motivation, a practical guide, and smiled patiently. By the 10th day, Keiko was the only investigator still working. The rest had fled, broken, or lost hope. Keiko entered Ace's cell without guards or weapons. Just her, a Telnari crystal being, and the human who had brought down the greatest government by doing nothing but speaking and remaining silent. "I know you didn't leak the secrets," Keiko said. "I know you didn't build the network. You just waited 30 years for the right moment to speak." Ace set down his book, The Ethics of Truth, When Honesty Becomes Violence, and regarded her with respect. "Why?" Keiko asked. "Why spend decades destroying the most stable government in the galaxy?" Ace was silent. Keiko looked at the titles of his books, Ethics, Honesty, Truth. Slowly she spoke, "Because stability built on lies isn't true stability. It's only a delay." Ace's expression changed slightly. He walked to the window and stared out at the galaxy that was now reinventing itself. Keiko sat in his chair, exhausted. "Now that people know what their leaders really are," she said, "what their governments do behind closed doors, what their own species is capable of when no one is watching, what will they do with that knowledge?" Ace turned back to her, eyes full of sadness and patience. "That choice is theirs," he seemed to say. Keiko sighed. "I suppose we have to thank you for giving us that choice, even if it comes with chaos and pain." Ace nodded gently. Then Keiko asked, "You're leaving, aren't you?" Ace smiled his quiet smile. "No one has stopped me yet." Keiko's curiosity grew. "What would you have found if you tried to break me? I've never hired you. I don't think I've done anything truly wrong." Ace tapped his temple. "Perhaps the others never thought they were doing wrong until the truth was shown." Keiko said nothing more. She watched as the most dangerous human in the galaxy walked calmly out of his cell. He did not run or hide. He disappeared into the crowds of refugees, diplomats, and revolutionaries. Just another unremarkable face in a sea of beings trying to find what came next. No one stopped him. No one even noticed. In the ruins of the Galactic Council, 47 species began the long, painful work of rebuilding their governments on truth. Keiko filed her report. The shortest of her career, subject departed voluntarily. Recommend no pursuit. Case closed. She never saw Ace Mercer again. But sometimes, when new governments showed signs of corruption and lies, secret documents would appear on public networks. Perfectly timed, perfectly damaging, always signed with one simple message. Reflection requires light. And somewhere in the galaxy, beings remembered that humans were not monsters. They were reflections. Reflections show exactly who you are, whether you want to see it or not. The Galactic Council was broken. The halls that once echoed with the sound of power and authority now whispered with fear and doubt. The secrets Ace Mercer had exposed tore at the fabric of alliances and friendships. No species could trust another. No leader could trust themselves. Chaos spread through the galaxy like wildfire. Borders closed. Fleets were recalled. Propaganda filled the airwaves, blaming other species for the collapse. But deep beneath the surface, a new movement was forming, one that wanted to rebuild from the ashes, not return to lies and betrayal. Keiko, the Telnari investigator, watched all this unfold. She had learned much from Ace Mercer's silence and strength. She believed the galaxy could change. But it would take time, painful, slow time. She traveled from system to system, speaking quietly to diplomats and citizens alike. She told them what Ace had shown her. Truth was not a weapon to destroy, but a mirror to see clearly. If they faced their shadows, they could build something stronger. Yet many resisted. Old powers clung to secrets and lies. Some tried to silence Keiko and those who followed her. Threats and violence surfaced, showing the depth of fear the truth had sown. Meanwhile, the hidden human network quietly grew stronger. Across dozens of systems, ordinary humans worked behind the scenes: clerks, engineers, data analysts, maintenance workers. No one saw them. They blended perfectly into every society. They were not spies or saboteurs. They simply did their jobs well and waited. Waiting for a moment when truth could be used as a tool to create real change. Ace Mercer had spent 30 years planting seeds. His single speech had been a signal for these seeds to grow. Now the humans were ready to guide the galaxy through its darkest hours. But not all humans agreed with Ace's methods. Some believed the chaos was too great a cost. Others feared the violence that might follow if old empires fought back. Quiet debates happened in back rooms and hidden forums, where humans wrestled with their role in this new era. Ace himself was nowhere to be found. Some said he had left the galaxy entirely. Others whispered he was watching, waiting to see what his reflection would do next. One thing was certain: the age of shadows was ending. The age of light and truth was beginning, but it would not be easy. Amid the confusion, Keiko received a message. It was from an unknown source but carried a simple request: meet at the edge of the Cerulean Nebula. She hesitated but decided to go. She sensed this could be important, a chance to learn more about the humans' true plan. The journey through the nebula was dangerous. Stars blazed with blue fire and swirling clouds hid deadly radiation. Keiko's ship moved carefully, guided by her steady hands and years of experience. When she reached the meeting point, a small, unmarked ship waited. Inside was a human woman with calm eyes and a steady smile. "I'm Elena," the woman said. "I'm part of the network Ace Mercer built." Keiko studied her. "Why reach out now? The council is falling apart. The galaxy is burning." Elena nodded. "Because the next phase is about rebuilding. Truth alone can destroy, but it cannot build. That takes something more." Keiko asked, "What?" "Hope," Elena said. "And patience." Over the following days, Elena shared secrets about the human network. They had quietly influenced trade, technology, education, and diplomacy for decades. Their goal was to create systems that served all people, not just the powerful. But they needed allies. The galaxy's many species were proud and wary. Trust was fragile. Keiko realized the network was not just about exposing lies but about planting ideas of fairness, justice, and cooperation. It was a slow revolution, not of weapons but of hearts and minds. As Keiko returned to her duties, she felt a new determination. The road ahead was long, but the seeds Ace Mercer planted might yet bloom. Meanwhile, far from the political storms, Ace Mercer read quietly in a small hidden library on a remote planet. His gray eyes scanned pages filled with wisdom and questions about choice, morality, and power. He smiled softly, knowing his silence had spoken louder than words. The galaxy's wounds ran deep. Entire governments had collapsed, trusted leaders had been exposed as liars or worse, and alliances once thought unbreakable were now fragile threads. Yet, amid this chaos, the true challenge began. Could the galaxy rebuild itself on truth? Keiko found herself at the center of the storm. As a Telnari, a species of crystalline beings known for their logic and sharp minds, she was uniquely suited to understand the weight of what had happened. But even she was not prepared for the choices that lay ahead. One evening, as she reviewed reports from different systems, a coded message arrived. It was from Ace Mercer, or so it seemed. The message was short and simple. "Reflection requires light." Keiko knew these words well. They had been the signature left on the leaked documents, the rallying cry of the hidden human network. But why send a message now? What was the meaning? She pondered long into the night, realizing the truth was more complex than anyone dared imagine. While the Galactic Council fractured, new voices rose. Groups of diplomats, activists, and ordinary citizens formed coalitions. They wanted to build something different, governments based on transparency, accountability, and respect. It was a fragile hope, but a hope nonetheless. But not everyone welcomed this change. Some species, powerful and proud, tried to cling to old ways. They used propaganda to spread fear and hatred. They whispered of human conspiracies and warned of chaos. The galaxy was divided between those who wanted change and those desperate to keep their secrets. Amid this, Keiko met with Elena again. The human explained the network's next steps. They were planting new leaders, educating the young, and promoting unity across species. They sought to inspire cooperation, not force it. True change, Elena said, comes from understanding, not control. Keiko believed her. She saw the human network as a delicate web holding together threads of hope in a galaxy torn apart. But even hope could be fragile. One day, Keiko received word of a crisis. On the planet Draxel, riots had erupted. The people demanded answers, justice, and new leadership. But old powers fought back violently. The situation threatened to spiral into war. Keiko traveled there immediately. She arrived to find a city burning, its skies filled with smoke and screams. Leaders begged for peace. Rebels called for revolution. Keiko spoke to both sides, urging calm and dialogue. She reminded them of Ace Mercer's message. Reflection forces change, but only if people choose to see themselves clearly. Slowly the fires died down. A fragile truce was made. The people of Draxel chose to build new institutions, ones based on truth and fairness. This victory was small, but it was a start. Far across the stars, Ace Mercer continued his quiet work. Though hidden, he monitored the galaxy's healing. His network sent him reports, stories of hope and struggle, of setbacks and triumphs. He understood that truth was a harsh light, but without it, darkness ruled. One evening, as he read by a dim lamp, a message arrived. It was from Sarah, the assassin who had once been sent to kill him. She wrote of her own transformation. The moment she met him had changed her, forced her to question her nature and her path. She chose mercy over murder. Ace smiled. Even the deadliest beings could change. As days passed, more stories came from across the galaxy. Former enemies working together, leaders resigning in shame, new voices rising from the people. The council's collapse had shaken everything, but from its ashes, something new was growing. Keiko realized that Ace Mercer's greatest power was not in secrets or weapons, but in forcing the galaxy to face itself. And that was a power no one could ignore. The galaxy was not healed. Not yet. But it had changed forever. The old systems of power were crumbling, and new ideas took root in their place. The air was thick with hope, fear, and uncertainty. Keiko sat quietly in a council chamber on a newly formed planet, surrounded by delegates from many worlds. They were gathered not to judge or fight, but to build. To find a way forward after the great collapse. She thought about Ace Mercer. The man who had done nothing but speak once, and stay silent, and started a revolution of truth. His presence was felt everywhere, though he was gone. Like a shadow that refused to fade. One delegate spoke passionately about the need for transparency. Another warned of chaos if trust broke again. The discussions were heated but honest, a sign of real change. Suddenly, a message arrived on all screens. It was an encrypted file sent from an unknown source. The message simply read, "Reflection requires light." Documents and videos flooded the networks. They revealed corruption, greed, and lies hidden for centuries. Some were painful to watch, others gave hope, showing acts of courage and kindness. The galaxy faced its reflection again. Keiko smiled softly. This was the truth Ace Mercer had shown them, sometimes the hardest mirror to face but the only way to grow. Later, Keiko walked the busy streets of the city. People of many species moved around, sharing stories, working together, rebuilding trust. The wounds were still fresh, but healing had begun. She saw children playing in a park, laughter filling the air. She thought about the future they deserved. A future where power served the many, not the few. Back in a quiet place far from the noise, Ace Mercer sat reading. His gray eyes shone with a calm light. He was no hero. He was just a reflection, showing the galaxy who it truly was. His work was not done, but for now he allowed himself a moment of peace. The galaxy would remember him not as a warrior or conqueror, but as a mirror, one that revealed truth, forced choice, and brought change. And sometimes, when secrets threatened to hide again, new leaks appeared in public networks. Perfectly timed, perfectly precise, always signed with one message. Reflection requires light. Because reflection shows you what you are, whether you want to see it or not.